Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for attending. I think the first thing to point out that this is a time-sensitive meeting. We only have the 40-minute free version at the moment, and also it's being suggested that we ought to finish before 8, so that we can take part in the clap for NHS and care workers, etc. So that's my target. If you can use the mute button when you're not actually talking, then it will save interrupting other people. We had a meeting on Tuesday which worked quite well, but it does mean that quick, sharp, sort of backwards, forwards conversation doesn't work. So it's best if you just say your piece, make it clear when you finish, and then someone else can join in. Otherwise, you kind of miss what the first line of what someone else was saying. Also pointing out that this the clerk is hosting it, and so there's a lot of muting and videoing assets that she can do. So she won't have time to take minutes, so she'll be recording it so that she can take minutes later on. And also access has been given to parishioners, so they can also be recording what's going on. So just worth pointing that out. So with that said, I think I've said all I need to from that point of view. So if we go onto the agenda, the first item on the agenda is apologies for his absence. Have we got one, isn't it, Nicola?
Yes, there's apologies from Laura.
Okay. Second point is declaration of interest. You've all seen what's on the agenda tonight. Any declarations of interest? Nope. That's good. Thank you much. Okay.
Would you like to approve the apologies or accept the apologies?
Okay. Yeah. Yes, thank you for that. We need to approve. I need a seconder for that. That we're going to approve Laura's absence. Anne is shaving her hand. Are we all happy that that apology is okay? Raise of hands on the screen. Yeah, Kieran, are you going to raise your hand? Oh gosh. Okay, very good. Okay, so that's passed. So we now come on to the open session. This is for we close the meeting, and then parishioners can talk for a maximum. This session goes on for a maximum of 10 minutes. Each parishioner or whoever has a 3-minute max slot. So if anybody wishes to speak, No. Oh, Andy. Oh,
no, Graham, just courtesy to let everybody know that I am recording this meeting as usual, but I thought it's just courtesy to let people know.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you much. Okay, so moving on then. The first item on the agenda is to approve 2 minutes of meetings. Now, there were not many people at both of those. So the first one is the council meeting that we had on the beginning of March. There was just myself, Peter, Laura and Anne. So if Peter and Anne are happy, this was the one, well, it was quite a short meeting, finished at 9 o'clock. If you've seen those minutes that were sent out, I'm going to recommend they are approved. Can I have a seconder, please? Is Peter or Anne, are you seconding? Yeah. Okay. Peter, are you happy? Peter, are you with us? What's he done? Fine. Have you lost? Oh, presumably he's lost. Is that okay for you, Nicola? Yeah. Okay. Fine. Rightio. So then moving on to the planning meeting. This was planning meeting towards the end of March when we were looking at the TPO. This was actually just after, or at the time when Corona was coming in, and a couple of councillors were self-isolating. So we only had 3 people on that planning meeting. Rob, Peter and myself. So if I recommend those for approval, can I have one of you guys second that? Peter seconding it. Rob, are you happy? Yeah, so we're all in favour. Good. Okay. So that's fine. Thank you much. Now, moving on to the next item, we have to review and approve. I'm going to perhaps transfer this to Nicola, because this various things happened because of the Corona popping up between meetings, or just after our March meeting. She had to take various steps that were...
Sorry, Graham, have you skipped matters arising, including clerk report?
No, I thought perhaps you'd interrupt me on that one. Yes, could you go on clerk's matters, please? Thank you.
Okay, the Coronavirus Act 2020 and the Local Authorities and Police and Crime Panel regulations are now in effect until the 7th of May 2021. which means that we can hold these meetings online. Members and public must be able to see and hear and be heard, and ideally see and be seen. Annual meetings are cancelled, and any appointments, including the chair and appointment to committees, will carry forward to the next annual meeting, which will hopefully be in May 2021. The deadline for the annual return has been extended to the 1st of September 2020, and the requirement to include the first 2 weeks of July in the period of electors' rights has been removed. So there will still be a period of electors' rights, but we are not required to do them all the councillors at the same time. As you'll have seen, we're running a community volunteer scheme, which has had a great response. 60 households have volunteered to help so far, and we've had about 20 requests for assistance. I've received notification that we will shortly be receiving a CIL payment, that's the Community Infrastructure Levy, for £1,885.96, which is in relation to the planning for PEX Coppice. And the council's insurance is due for renewal shortly, so I will be getting quotes in to present to a future meeting.
Okay, thank you much. Thank you. Now moving on to the other item, this is to approve, again I'll get Nicola to introduce this one in more detail, but basically because of what happened we had to take various steps to get things sorted that we would normally have wanted to discuss in council, but that wasn't possible. So Nicola did some reviewing of what was possible, and we now need to just sort of approve what's been going on. So Nicola, can you sort of take over on that one, please?
Okay, so what I've given you is the model scheme of delegation, which has been produced by the Society of Local Council Clerks, and it is just literally copy and paste. So this scheme of delegation will authorise me as clerk and proper officer to act with delegated authority, which means that I will be able to take decisions in the specific circumstances detailed. So we've got to take action on any issue of such urgency that it can't wait until the next normal council meeting. If circumstances permit, the clerk would normally be expected to consult the chair or vice chair if the chair is unavailable and take his or her view into account. It's worth noting there that the decision would remain with me in that case. To incur expenditure on behalf of the council, which is necessary to carry out any repair, replacement or other work which is of extreme urgency that it must be done at once, whether or not there is a budgetary provision for this. So this is interesting, where we were looking at leaflet drops, and obviously we'd gone over budget for stationery. I had a bit of an issue in March, obviously not so much in April in the new financial year, but this would remove that issue subject to a limit of £300. And to take any action regarding minor repairs, again up to £300. So any delegated actions decision making will be in accordance with standing orders and financial regs, and in line with any directions given by the council, and then everything has to be reported to the next available council meeting.
Nicola, is there a time frame for this, or is this open-ended?
It's open-ended.
Fine. Okay, so that's, I mean, oh, Anne?
Does that mean that you, Nicola, are able to make decisions without any reference to the rest of the parish council?
Yes, only in matters of extreme urgency, ideally with consultation to the chair.
Okay, and at what point did the rest of the parish council know what you've done?
According to the scheme of delegation at the next council meeting.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, that's moving on. That's how things have happened during the last sort of 4 or so weeks, and have been pretty successful considering. So I'm going to propose that we accept that.
Graham.
Yeah. Sorry.
Just kind of following from my last point, really. I think it's a great idea and we need it. But I think with all these things where you make exceptions, we should consider, is this something we want to happen indefinitely, or should we say, let's do it for a 12-month period and then review it at that point? Because I think, you know, these things are there for a purpose, and you have a process for a purpose. This is a deviation to a purpose because it's required. But I think, you know, you might want to put a review period on this after a certain period of time, so it doesn't just de facto become forever.
Good idea.
I'd like to second that. and also perhaps a year's too long, maybe 6 months. Just so we don't forget about it.
Well,
Yeah.
Good
All
idea.
policies of the council should be reviewed annually anyway.
Okay. Sharon, are you waving a hand to speak or? No. Okay. Okay. Well, for expediency, then I don't think we need to discuss that too much. But I think if we're happy to take it on board, but with a 6 months review period, so that would be sometime in October. Can I have that a seconder for that, please? Kieran seconding that. Are we all in favour? Wave of hands on the video. Great. Thank you much. That's super. Now, can I just come back to you, Nicola? I've just sent a text to Ian Stott, who I just noticed isn't with us. He said still waiting. Now, whether he's still waiting to let in or whether he's
I
still waiting.
beg your pardon.
Is he there?
He is
That's
there.
fine. That's fine. Okay. Well, you should have phoned us. That's fine. Okay. One of the problems with this new system. Good evening, Ian. We're quite some way down the agenda now. But just if you can keep up with us. We'll have a chat later about what's happened.
Sorry,
So
Ian.
moving on to the next item on the agenda, this is to approve the purchase of a professional Zoom. At the moment, we're using Zoom, which is the free version, limited to 40 minutes and other features. The recommendation is that we go for the more professional cost version at £12 a month or 11, whatever it is, which gives us a few more features. So this is an expenditure which obviously is being brought to council. So if anyone's got any comment on that.
Can
We
I?
can meet for 24 hours a day.
Yes, it's not compulsory, Ian. Anne?
Just to say, I'm assuming, but let me ask the question, are we still paying, for example, the village hall or the Methodist church for their use, and how do the prices compare?
We're not paying either of them because we pay per use. It's billed per hour as to how long we're actually in there. So where we're not using it, we're not paying for it. And we pay, I believe it's 13, possibly gone up to £14 an hour now for the village hall.
Okay, so it's actually cheaper for us to do this than.
Yeah, we'll need to
than
do
this
it.
hall.
Okay,
But,
so
can I just add a point to that? Whatever the cost to us as a comparison between those venues and doing it online, should we as a parish council seek to support the village hall or the Methodist church, given that they're not getting revenue?
a matter for another meeting, but we can bear that in mind. Peter, were you? I'm speeding on now because
question.
Yeah.
Quick question on the Zoom. Is it cancelable at any time? It's not a 12-month contract or anything like that.
I don't know, to be honest.
I don't know. I was just wondering whether, mind you, this is a great cheaper way of having meetings, isn't it?
Well, we had to see.
We've only got until the 7th of May,
Yeah.
2021.
2021 next year. Brilliant.
So based on the information we got, I'm proposing that we do go for the professional £12 a month version. Can I have a second for that, please?
Yeah.
Peter seconding. Oh, Ian's there. Are all in favour? Can you wave of hands on the screen? Rob is there. Peter, yeah, fine. Okay, thank you very much. And now we come on to co-opting of the additional councillor. As you know, we lost Sarah at the beginning of the year. We have one candidate in Heather, who's in the bottom of my screen, certainly. Now, you've seen a lot more information about Heather than you would normally see for ourselves when we get elected. So you've seen a CV and everything else. So a lot of information there. So thank you very much. We've also sent an email around earlier that we will be using the chat function. So we would normally do a secret ballot. But in this particular case, you will all be using the chat version, which will require you to send a yes or a no, for or against, or abstaining into Nicola. So if I could ask you to do that now, and then we'll see how that moves on. Thank you very much. So just bear with us, parishioners, while we try and sort this one out. And then Nicola, perhaps you can tell us how many you're short of.
Yeah.
it's all very new, really, isn't it? How many you got so far?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, full house.
Fine. And,
No.
and what's
4.
4?
So
Oh, 4.
as a council, you are 4.
4
Heather.
or 5 or 5 against? No, 4. Right.
FOR. Heather being
Heather,
4.
welcome on board. Thank you very much, and I hope you
Welcome,
enjoy
Heather.
hope you enjoy your time with us. Okay, so moving on, the next item on the agenda is to approve the accounts. Working from memory, yes, which you've all seen the accounts on PowerPoint. So most of those, I think those bills are all previously agreed. So it's a question of whether you're all happy with it. Yeah, looking around, no one's got any questions. Oh, Anne's got a question.
No question, just that I'm happy with it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll propose that we pay them. I'll need a seconder for that, please. Oh, Peter was just first. Okay, so Peter's seconding it. And all in favour that they're paid in the appropriate manner? But Heather, you'll need to vote, I think. Even though you haven't seen the accounts. I think officially you are now a councillor, but if you can enjoy the experience. Thank you very much. Okay, and then finally we have the last item, which is councillors' items. Anything that you wish to mention? And I say bearing on the time. Our next meeting, by the way, is in about 10 days' time. So has anybody got anything they want to add at this point? Oh, Sharon. Sharon, far away.
I just noticed the grass is growing around the new benches and the picnic tables quite rapidly, and I just wondered whether that is included on the maintenance that John does, or I know that came up last year, but it was just to point out whether the area could be trimmed, because there are quite a few new benches, and I don't want them to look sort of unkempt. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's noted. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else want to say anything at all?
No.
Okay. It's customary that the new councillor makes a 5-minute speech, but on this particular occasion we won't. I'm just
young lads.
Okay. So thank you very much. Bit of a rapid meeting. I'm sorry about that. But,
Graham, on the agenda is an item which is for public comment and councillors, county and district. That's not been dealt with.
I dealt with it right at the beginning.
You didn't ask me, and I'm your county councillor.
Okay, I haven't closed the meeting, so fire away.
I think everybody was asked if they wanted to the people who weren't parish councillors were asked if they wanted to comment, weren't they?
We've still got time, so we can have it at the end. We haven't closed the meeting, so Ian, fire away.
Well, I've not got a great deal to say, except obviously it's strange times that we're living in. The county obviously is very engaged with protecting vulnerable people. You will notice that things like libraries are closed. You will also notice, I'm sure, that a lot of the staff have been redeployed. Libraries, highways, transport officers have all been redeployed to actually assist with vulnerable people, children, adults, etc. If you look at the committee papers now for all of the committees at Cambridgeshire County Council, they will all have an item has been today. The first 2 have been approved and has been discussion. They're all live streamed on the internet, and they all have a what I call virus essence within the report, so you can actually see what happens in an update on children's services, adult services, the finance, highways, etc., etc. So all of those are available now for viewing if you so wish. The County Council is obviously sending out reports daily to parish and town councils, and also obviously a daily bulletin about what is happening centrally. So obviously the things change. The Chief Executive is meeting daily every morning, particularly with the health service, to review where we are, etc., etc. So a lot of the things that would be routinely done, like libraries being open, will not obviously not happen, and obviously we'll have to keep reviewing where we are and what we're doing as we go forward. So apart from that, Graham, I have nothing else to report. I think it's a strange time we're living in, and we all have to just thank the people that are actually doing a lot of the work, both at county, district, towns, time banking, hubs, volunteers, etc. So I think actually it's just a thanks, I think, for everybody. So I just want to place my thanks to all those people that are doing a lot of good things within the community, including this parish. Other than that,
you're here.
Fine.
Well
Thank
said.
you much. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Well, I mean, that's the reason why we're closing before 8, so we can all nip outside and do our bit. So I'm going to suggest that we close the meeting now. Thank you very much. And we'll see you all in 10 days' time.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yep. Thank you. Cheers.
I work well, Graham. Good man.
Yes. Sorry about your late arrival.
No. There's
We'll have a chat later.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Thank you.
Cheers, Graham.
It will get easier, I'm sure. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, then.